Robert, again, thank you for letting me. I don't want to say hold you hostage, but thank you for letting me keep you a little longer and talk about some more amazing things that are happening because of this pandemic. How things are still going smoothly for the organization and Jehovah's Witnesses. And Robert, we kind of touched on it earlier about the regional convention last year and just the effects of it. But what about this year, Robert? What can ones have to look forward to with this? Because we know certain states are lifting mask mandates. So does that mean that Jehovah's Witnesses are going to get together in person and do their convention this year?
Well, first of all, on the lifting of mask mandates, of course, the everybody will make their own decision. We understand that, but Jehovah's Witnesses, while we certainly respect the superior authorities, and we always listen, we always obey unless it's conflicting with God's law. In this case, really, the law is the minimum standard. Jehovah's standard, God's standard, is different. His standard is life is sacred. One life is sacred. Every life is sacred, right? And so we have to make sure that we're in line with that as well. And the second is love of neighbor. When we would go into cities for our conventions, we would kind of take over, and we'd love it, and they'd love it because we'd come in, we'd take over the hotels, the restaurants, go to our convention, and it would be more than just a spiritual event. It would also be a social event, a fellowship event, and all part of our building our spirituality. But the last thing we want to do is get each other sick or bring the pandemic into a city or take it out of a city. And we're going to continue to proceed with caution based upon those two principles. Even one life is worth caution, because guess what? Spirituality is not about a building. Yeah. It's not about getting together even physically. Spirituality is a condition of the heart and your relationship with your Father in the heavens. And our fellowship with our brothers and sisters, which contributes to our spirituality, doesn't need to be in person. We've proved that without question over the last year. We've thrived. We had a most incredible convention virtually over 6 weekends of the summer of 2020. And so the answer is, that's the long answer. The answer, Paul, is no. We will not be meeting in person. We will be meeting virtually. And we're excited about it because the decision to meet virtual last time, the decision to cancel all conventions came in April of last year. Mm-hmm. Just think about that. It was up on a virtual site. It was up on rjw.org. It was on JW Broadcasting. It was available through all channels in order to receive it by the second week in July. That's a 3-day event, 3 days of content that were filmed, transcribed, then they had to be translated. Voiceovers had to be done for more than 500 languages. And by the end, that's how many we had. I think it was 511. And we achieved such a beautiful outcome, this organization did. So I can imagine having a little bit more of a proactive approach. I think the governing body made the decision in January or February, somewhere around there, probably January or earlier. But now to be able to plan for it with a little more time, we think that it'll be even better, and our friends are looking forward to it. And it's interesting, Paul, because you have a special circumstance. Obviously, you've been disabled for a long time, and for folks like you to go to a convention venue, even though you went and it was awesome, and there was always special seating and you were cared for, there are those who are in much worse condition than you, who found the virtual convention being like a blessing from God, and for a lot of reasons. For the blind, it was the description, the audio descriptions of the drama that was released, so they could actually watch almost with their mind's eye. They could watch a video because it was being described to them. How beautiful is that? For the elderly, for those who were, and some were, who had just come out of the hospital because they had contracted the COVID-19. They weren't going to a convention anyway. They were able to do that at home, convalesce at home, and they convalesced not only physically, but also spiritually. And so what a blessing it was and will be this summer as well. Oh, by the way, our theme is Powerful by Faith. And I don't think at any other time have you needed more faith than now, because so many have lost faith in their institutions, their governments, their jobs, themselves. And so we really need it. It's going to be a message that we need in the summer of 2021.
And we'll have the videos. We'll have all the bells and whistles too, Robert.
Well, there's always that, because again, especially in a visual medium now, not being in person, it is going to be necessary. But that's been our practice since 2014. We have featured videos, films, dramas. We call them dramas on film that we have, and also dramatizations, as well as experiences that will be all done by video. So we always look forward to how part of our convention really establishes creation and how beautiful it is, and how creation really speaks to the wonders of God and teaches us about Him. So all of that will be part of our convention this year, and we're greatly anticipating it as usual, and we're greatly anticipating inviting again all of our neighbors around the world to it.
And Robert, I'm sure all who are listening and watching right now appreciate what you said about, we don't want to bring the pandemic in, and we don't want to bring the pandemic out by meeting in person. That really shows, again, a love of neighbor, and we really appreciate that. And Robert, when we look at the Bible translations that has taken place over the years, and even this year in particular, I don't think we as the public understand that if a person learns the Bible in their own language, just how impactful that is for them. With that being said, let's talk about just the effort that Jehovah's Witnesses are doing to make sure that the Bible is available in as many languages as possible.
Well, here's breaking news on your show.
Awesome.
We just reached the 200 milestone, the translations of the New World Translation of the Holy Scriptures. So 200 in 200 different languages. I was just on a radio show in Missouri, and the radio commentator wanted to have us on because we had put out 33 translations of the Bible last year during COVID, and we had another 36 coming. She said, I didn't know there were that many languages in the world. And I told her our website is in 1,028 languages, and she just was overwhelmed. How do you do this? But you know, what you said is correct, Paul. People need God's word in the language of their heart. And that's just the bottom line. God didn't create a mystery in the book. Many people think it's mysterious, and it is heavy reading. It is complex. But really, in its most simple form, and that's in the language of our heart, it's understandable and hits the heart. And so that is the mandate of this organization. This organization, which is representing Jesus Christ here on the earth, this organization is absolutely focused on getting the truth into the hands of each person. I'll give you two examples. There's an island called Bislama. Never heard of it before. It's north of Australia. It's got 10,000 people there. We have a very small group of witnesses who live there, but the Islamic language is unique. It's their language of their heart. Now, these folks, they make nothing. In fact, I think one figure is they make $15 per day.
Wow.
The average person. A Bible in Islamic, it costs $30. It's 2 days' pay. And so many couldn't afford it. This organization has not only translated a Bible in Islamic for no more than 10,000 people, but likely for just a fraction of those people. And it's giving it away, both in printed form and electronic form. This is what we do. And Jesus said, you receive free, give free. Give you another example. In 2020, and I think this is just, it almost brings me to tears, we released the final book, Job, of the first sign language Bible ever in the history of mankind. The first complete sign language Bible in history. It took us 15 years to do it. 15 years. We never thought we'd get it done. At first, the governing body thought, well, maybe the Gospels, and then the Greek Scriptures, and then we started the Hebrew Scriptures, and all of a sudden now we're doing this complex book, Job, and Job is a very complex book to understand. And now it's available for the sign language community. In fact, it's really available for those around the world. The amount of downloads that we've had of those chapters are in the tens of millions.
Wow.
However, and here's what I think is really amazing. What's really amazing is that in the United States, those who speak ASL, native speakers, only number about 2,500. We have a remote translation office staffed by about 65 people. There are about 100 people work there. Some come from the outside or used to. And that translation department is devoted to the needs of about 2,500 people. You can't, it's a free Bible. That's why it's been downloaded so many times. It's set the standard for the world. And we now are doing publications or website translation in more than 100 sign languages. So
wow.
Imagine that. You can't even name 50 languages. Imagine 100 sign language in the world. And so even the populations of the world that have been least served are really being put on equal footing with everybody else, whether you speak English, Spanish, or Islamic. And all of this is at no charge. All of this is being given free. And so during COVID, we released 33 translations, 33 new languages in the New World Translation, 33 new languages during COVID. That's when all of our RTOs, there's about 400 around the world, even though they're served by many in the community who used to come and work there, all of that went to the outside now. Our structure has had to change. And so that was a record for this organization, 33 new languages. In 2021, we expect 36. And right now we've hit the 200 milestones. So we're excited, and we really feel it's going to really benefit the world.
That's really super, super awesome. I should have had the breaking news sounder, Robert, when you said that. It's really, no, but that is really, really an amazing task. And Robert, something else that the organization has done during this pandemic, and that's some changes to the website. And you mind giving us an update on that? Because to me, that website is the best I have ever seen. I would love to clone the web developers and put them over with us, but I know that's not possible. But talk about just some of the changes that were made to the website.
Well, the website isn't amazing. There's no other communication platform even close to it on Earth. It's just that good. I mean, when you talk about 1,028 languages, I think Google is still around 150. So it's amazing. And here's the reason: there's no profit motive. That's the reason. right? Because if there was a profit motive, we certainly wouldn't be creating a translation, spending years translating the ASL Bible, the Islamic Bible, or providing for 1,028 languages. It's because of God's Spirit and His blessing, and also because we love, again, it's that love of neighbor. And so, interestingly, about January of last year, there were changes that were coming on the website. And it was very clear, I think, to the governing body that the needs of those who are looking at our website, those who are visiting our website, were changing, and they needed more relevant information. The problem is that around here we take great pains to put out information that's accurate, that's solidly biblically, scripturally based. And so it used to take about 18 months to prepare an article for the website. Somehow they got it down to 5 weeks. And they did that because they wanted to make the homepage relevant, more relevant to the average visitor. And that was right before COVID. And so all of a sudden now they had this new mechanism in place to quickly get new information up on the website. Not a mistake, certainly. It's not coincidence. And so over the last 9 months, we have seen topics that have talked about the trauma of this pandemic trauma, talked about domestic violence, talked about depression and stress that especially is happening among men, really targeted articles that appealed. In fact, one was related to Bible prophecy, and it happened to be the Horsemen of the Apocalypse and the four Horsemen, and a beautiful illustration. And it caught the eye of a person down in San Diego who looked at it and said, that's interesting. Now, she was a mystical writer. She liked writing about the magical arts and the mystics. She is in school for writing. And she just, this captured her. And so she got a Bible study with one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, she had never seen a Kingdom Hall, but she said, I need to know more. And she was so voracious in her desire to learn that she decided, and her Bible study agreed, to have a Bible study every morning at 8 a.m. And she did that every day. She couldn't get enough. Even at the end of the study, she had more questions. So she now is a Jehovah's Witness. She was baptized in August.
Wow. And
she's actually studying the Bible with her two family members. So that's what it's done. It's become more relevant to the times that we're living in, and not just the times, because it was always relevant for the times, but the moment. And we're able to be more nimble with that website in order to capture that moment and capitalize on it for others, so that they can feel like they're being served by that beautiful website, which is in more than 1,000 languages, jw.org.
Wow. Robert, like always, it's been very enlightening, insightful whenever we get together and chat about some of the great things that Jehovah's Witnesses are doing organizationally, especially during this pandemic, and just meeting the need of those out there in our community. We really, really appreciate it, Robert. So look forward to catching up with you soon again, and maybe some more breaking news. I really appreciate it, Robert.
Outstanding. Thank you, Paul. Thanks so much for having us.
Once again, I thank Robert Hendriks, U.S. spokesperson for the Christian Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, for joining us here and sharing an update on how things are going with the organization and what they are doing to continue to promote spirituality and safety during this pandemic. Take care, folks, and I love you all to life.